Hey everyone, Road Breach here, and today we're taking a look at the Power Rangers Minipla Wild Force Megazord.
But Road Breach,
Yeah?
this toy is actually referred to as the Hayakuju Sentai Gaoranger Gao-King model kit.
I know that, but most of my audience is American, and a lot of them are going to have no idea what I'm talking about if I refer to it like that.
Understood. Continue.
Anyway, this model kit is based on Gao-King from Hayakuju Sentai Gaoranger, which was turned into Power Rangers Wild Force when they brought it over to the US in 2002. And Gao-King is just the name of the Megazord before they filled it with stars and stripes and apple pies. I love Power Rangers, and one of the many things I like about it are the Megazords. But the biggest problem with the Megazord toys is the fact that they have almost no articulation. I get that Power Rangers is a kid-friendly franchise, but come on, why did it take this long to get combining Megazords that pose like action figures? I'm a little miffed about that, can you tell? Unfortunately, I didn't really save the box. But I did take a picture of the top part of the box right here. There were 3 small boxes, and there was a perforated line that you could peel away to separate the top and bottom parts of the box. Now, onto the figures. Starting off with the Lion Zord, it's fairly accurate to the TV show, even to the point where the nose is unpainted. However, the combiner pegs jutting out is the part where it starts to look inaccurate to the show. The Lion Zord does have something around this area, but they're much smaller and they look more like thrusters. As for posability, the mouth can open, the legs can move forward and back, the knees can bend, each foot is on a ball joint, and the tail can move. Next up is the Falcon Zord, and it's definitely the smallest of the group. In terms of flying Zords that combine with 4 others to make up a base Megazord, this one feels like it has a lot more thought put into it compared to the Pterodactyl Zord from Mighty Morphin,
which was referred to as Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger in Japan.
For context, this ends up becoming the head of the Megazord, and you wouldn't know that unless you looked under the tail feathers. The face is even concealed too. One thing that these mini plastic model kits do is paint some of the pieces beforehand, so this head was already painted. As for posability, the head can look up and down, the mouth can open, the wings can adjust the pitch, the wings can flap, the legs can move forward and back, the talons can move up and down, and the tail feathers can shift up and down, but that's more relevant later. Now onto the Zord. This thing is kind of plain if I'm being honest. I do like the yellow gills, but this thing is kind of boring if I'm being real. You could put the on a stand and pretend like it's underwater, like a usually is, but there's not much to this. As for posability, the mouth can open, the fins can move up and down, and the tail fin can move left and right. Now onto the Tiger Zord, which feels very similar to a Voltron lion, mostly with how it combines. In hindsight, I was pretty lazy and I just decided to apply the stickers and call it a day. There are areas on the toy that imply that there should be something there, but there aren't enough stickers to add details. I do appreciate that they did already paint some parts, so you wouldn't need to do as much work as you'd usually do with model kits if you wanted to make them look good, but they really should have thought about adding more stickers to make it look complete if you didn't want to go in and paint it, because there are spots that beg for detail. One design choice I'm not too crazy about is the fact that the back legs cannot move forward because of what will become the shoulder detailing on the Megazord. As for articulation, the mouth can open, the head can move up and down, there's a ball joint at the neck, which acts more like a swivel, the front legs can move forward, there's double bend at the knee, and all the feet can move forward and back, the back legs can move back, the knees have a single bend, and the tail has a single joint. And last but not least, we have the Bison Zord. The Bison is definitely the thickest one of the group. These gold accents help break up all this black pretty well, and I appreciate that these parts were already painted, so I didn't have to paint it myself and want Megan the Stallion to shove me into the Shadow Realm. But there are a couple stickers that I needed to apply, though I probably should have used paint instead. In this set, there are some stickers that you need to apply over areas that have texture, which not only makes it so they won't lay flat, but also covers up the texture and uses these flat decals as a substitute. For articulation, the head can swivel, the mouth can open, and the legs can move forward and back. As individuals, they feel like smaller parts of a larger whole, so let's get into one of those holes right now. I can't remember where I put the instructions, so I don't know what the official name for this is, but I'll call it the Beast Transport Mode. It looks straight up stupid and nothing tabs in, but I do like the extra wheels that are used here. Let's move on. This is what I like to call the Beast Tank mode. It looks ridiculous, but things actually tab in this mode. I feel like the Dino Tank from Mighty Morphin was more effective. At least the Dino Tank had some actual guns, whereas here, you have to use your imagination. But let's finally get into what you came here to see. I'm gonna be honest, this isn't my favorite Megazord design. It doesn't look bad, unlike Ninja Steel, but compared to the High Octane Megazord, the Samurai Megazord, or even the Mighty Morphin Megazord, this pales in comparison. But the design for this Megazord is actually alright. The leftover flourishes from the individual Zords makes this overall design look very visually interesting. And the kibble that could have made this robot look messy has been cleaned up pretty well. Even when I'm not talking about Transformers, something Transformers related happens to crop up. And some new details that are revealed help enhance this design. Though there are two issues that I have with this Megazord. First off, the Bison head is located on the crotch, and what were the wingtips on the Falcon run into it. But as far as Japanese combining robots go, this is a good design for the most part. One cool feature here is the face changing gimmick. It's simple, but it works very well. Speaking of which, both faces have a pretty good sculpt. Another trick this bot has up its sleeve is the tail on the shark is removable, and it can become a sword. Although this sword is kind of bad, which is why you get a much better looking sword. My guess is that the shark's tail comes off for consistency, because this is supposed to be the same thing, just lengthened due to movie magic. There's also this little loop you can flip out of the shark's mouth, so we can hold the sword better. Now, the best thing this model kit has over the original toy is the articulation. The head's on a ball joint, you can pull out the shoulders and have them cross his chest, the arms can move out, the arms can rotate, there's a swivel at the bicep, the left arm has a deeper elbow bend than the right, the left hand can swivel and move inwards, the back can arch, swivel at the waist, the hips can shift downward to allow for more forward movement, the butt plate can move back to allow for more backward movement, they can move out, double bend at the knee, and the toe can pivot. Not the most posable figure I've played with, but considering the original toys, I'm happy with what's here. Since this is a mini plastic model kit, this thing is pretty small, and overall, this set is pretty good. I love model kits that allow you to build a posable Megazord. Not only are the posable Megazord toys long overdue, but they have plenty of play value too. This may not be my favorite Megazord design, but it still looks pretty good nonetheless. It may not be the most posable figure in the world, but it's still a lot of fun to play with. That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and gotta zoom.